This right here is the section of highway where the Hells Angels and Vagos motorcycle clubs got into a shootout, resulting in 7 people shot. Here is a clip of the video of the actual shooting right now.
Oh, this is bad. They're shooting. They're shooting.
Okay, everybody, this is mooneydashcam. Today we're in Las Vegas in the city of Henderson. We're going to be talking about the high-speed highway shootout between the Hells Angels and the Vagos motorcycle clubs. I won't call them a gang, I know you guys don't like that. This was actually caught on video, so we're going to be comparing and we'll go exactly to where this shootout happened on the highway. I'm going to be hopping out on the highway, so let's flip this around and get into it. Alright, the time that this happened was May of last year, 2022. The spot that we're going to is on US 95 northbound between College Drive and Horizon Drive. I'll show you more specifically when we get over to that area. So this happened on May 29th, 2022. It was a Memorial Day weekend Vagos motorcycle club ride. They do these like ride outs a bunch. They all get together and ride their bikes. This one was called Flags Over Dam. It started at the Hoover Dam and ended at a veterans cemetery in Boulder City. Also, don't forget to follow me on Instagram at mooneydashcam. I post on there pretty much every single day. Any crime scene photos that can't go on YouTube end up on the Instagram, so go check that out. Don't forget to leave suggestions for future videos in the comments. I very much appreciate that. I got a lot of inspiration that way. And hit that notification bell so you guys can see exactly when I post a new video. Okay, at this time, tensions were high between the Hells Angels and the Vagos. They are rival motorcycle clubs. The story goes the Hells Angels wanted revenge after an April 23rd shooting in San Bernardino, California at a heavy metal concert that resulted in a Hells Angels member dying. Even though Vagos members' testimony states that the media just drummed that up, that theory out of thin air, that it wasn't revenge, they had no beef, whatever. Now, during the setup of the Flags Over Dam ride, Hells Angels prospects were driving their bikes around and showing their presence that morning. They like to do that sometimes. They'll just show that they're there and kind of say like, we're not scared of you, or maybe trying to be a little bit threatening. Now, a bunch of Hells Angels end up showing up at the Veterans Cemetery. I read some things that said 5 of them. I read some things that said 9 of them. Now they're getting a little bit more aggressive. They're revving their bikes. They're setting off car alarms by how loud their bikes are. They're disrupting the service. It's Memorial Day. They're at a veteran cemetery. This is what you do. You pay respect to the veterans that have passed away. They're actually yelling at people. So they're clearly there to stir things up and be a nuisance. The Hells Angels then leave, and I'm sure the Vagos were relieved at that time, like, oh my God, thank God, get these guys out of here. But clearly, as we know how the story goes, that's not all the Vagos will be seeing of the Hells Angels. So about 15 to 20 minutes later, the Vagos leave, and they head north on US 95. Witnesses report seeing the Hells Angels waiting on the side of the highway. Now, at the time, they don't really know why the Hells Angels are waiting there until probably later on when they see the news and then they go on and tell their side of the story. The Vagos pass them riding in a 2-line formation. I don't know if you've ever seen like a club ride their bikes, but they're real close together, tight. They're usually going pretty fast, and they're flying down the highway. As they pass the Hells Angels, they pull out, the Hells Angels, and chase them. Now the Vagos start to scramble once they realize what the Hells Angels are doing, because they're rivals. They don't want anything happening between them. Like I mentioned, there is video of this. I will be showing you it in this video. When we get closer to exactly where it happened, I'll be playing the video in and out while I'm driving. At first, the Hells Angels, when they swoop in there, they start kicking at the Vagos motorcycles, trying to push them over. Obviously, you don't kick someone on a motorcycle. It's clearly a very aggressive action. And quickly after that, one Hells Angel stands up on his bike and starts shooting at the Vagos members. Now, one Vagos member testifies. I believe they were all brought into court, the Vagos members, because the Hells Angels started this, and it was probably like, do you want to get charged along with them, or do you want to talk on the stand? So a Vagos member, Ted Lemport, testified. He thought someone was throwing rocks at the bikes. Then he saw a man and woman in front of him fly off the bike and land in the rocks off the side of the highway. So he pulls over to help them when someone noticed on him that his thigh is bloody, and that's when he realized he was shot. He says, in quotes, "It's cowardly." And then I'm paraphrasing here. What happened to the days that you duke it out in someone's backyard? And then he said, we had no problem with them. Like, at that time, they had no problem. I don't know why. He was almost confused at why they were shooting at him. Okay, we're pulling up here on where this went down. I'll point it out and we will compare to the video. So this is the highway. Nice, beautiful highways here in Vegas, by the way. Not like New York at all. Do you see one pothole? Do you see one crack in the road? New York's got to take some lessons. Obviously, they don't get the winters that we get, but there we go. Okay. So I believe you see this sign here in the video.
This is not good. Oh, fuck me. Oh, shit. You got Hells Angels, Wicked something, Jesus something, and Vagos.
And then you hear them going, oh my God, oh my God. They start shooting. It's a woman that's filming. She's passenger in the car. Then you see this sign right here, half mile, and they stop.
People get slow the f down. Oh, this is bad. They're shooting. They're shooting.
I'm gonna pull over here, which I'm sure, I don't know if I should really be doing this, but we're here and we're doing it anyway. Where are the hazards in this car? I'm not in my regular truck, guys, here. Okay, it's a little bit clearer up here. I'm gonna pull off once this little guardrail ends. Yeah, there's a little more room, okay. I feel more comfortable with that. So these are probably the rocks that the Hells Angel was talking about, the bike sliding off into. A lot of people would probably advise against doing this, considering the highway speeds in Vegas. But you can imagine here, bikes sliding off the road, people pulling over. You'll see in the video what I'm talking about, the people pulling over. It does cut off and the car does stop before. Oh, say hi to the truck, by the way. It's a little bit different than the truck that you guys are used to, but I don't know if we could really call this a truck. Watch me get a flat tire in the rental. So another Vagos member, Chad Merrill, had a similar story. He was shot in the leg. He obviously claimed he didn't know who shot him. A lot of these guys don't want to cooperate with the police. That's why they're called the one percenters. He pulls off the highway, I assume the next spot you could pull off, and he happens, luckily, to run into an off-duty police officer on his way to work. And the guy pulls over and sees that someone's shot, and he puts a tourniquet around the Vagos member's leg, and he ends up recovering. So later on, when police investigated this, they found 23 bullet casings spread across over a mile on this highway right here. Let's get back in the truck and get off this highway, and I'll tell you the rest of the story. Keep in mind, this just happened about a year ago. So this is very fresh. They didn't even go to trial yet, these guys. So as they're riding down the highway, they're in a full-on firefight. The Vagos are shooting back at this point. They all carry guns. This is Las Vegas. You're allowed to do all that. It results in 7 people getting shot. 6 of those people were Vagos. 1 Hells Angel was shot, of course. 2 people end up in critical condition. Most of them were brought to Sunrise Hospitals. That's a city very close to here. Now, there was footage of Hells Angels convening at a Harley shop in Henderson right after the incident. It was 3 Hells Angels. I know you guys are used to me knowing my way pretty much around everywhere, but I have no idea where I am. It's a fun new experience for me. We don't get views like those mountains in New York also. So, 3 Hells Angels, an associate, Ryan Malasco, 2 prospects, one 25-year-old Russell Smith and the other one 32-year-old Aaron Chung, were caught on camera dumping bikes in a parking lot at Eastgate Road near Auto Show Drive. One bike was silver, it had a bullet in the gas tank and blood splattered on the seat. June 10th, 2 weeks after, police found those bikes sitting there. I believe there's pictures of the bikes. I'll put them up now, of course. In total, 4 motorcycles had gunshot damage. Like I said, police found 25 bullet casings across over a mile of the highway. The highway was shut down for more than 5 hours after the situation. Police ended up searching Hells Angels associate, 39-year-old Ronerick Padilla's girlfriend's car, finding ammunition and blood. In total, 23 people were arrested. It was hard to argue these arrests and these convictions, well, no one was convicted yet, these charges at least, because GPS cell phone data placed them all there. Now I'll give you a list of everyone that was charged. Let's flip this camera around. So this is a nice list, and I'm sure I will make mistakes on people's last names and pronunciations, so I'm sorry ahead of time. This is everyone that was charged. 67-year-old Hells Angels Las Vegas chapter president, Richard DeVries. He got $75,000 bail. The initial bail was supposed to be like $380,000, and they lowered it down. Associate Ronerick Padilla, the guy I just mentioned, 39 years old, he got charged also. Then the prospect Russell Smith, 25 years old, and another prospect, Stephen Allo, 46 years old. I don't have everyone's status in the club, but as far as I understand, in Las Vegas, there's not that many full members, so these are probably a lot of associates and prospects. So 39-year-old Cameron Treich, Treich, then Taylor Rodriguez, a prospect then, but apparently a member now, which, a little odd. Hey, I'm not judging. Then 32-year-old Aaron Chung, prospect. Ryan Malasco, an associate. His lawyer actually said he became a member a week before this happened, trying to avoid farther charges of in the past, criminal involvement with them. All of them face charges of battery and assault with weapons, conspiracy to commit murder, and attempted murder. And I believe firing firearms at moving vehicles. I could be wrong on that one. With those charges, they could all face up to 40 years. They all pled not guilty. Now, this is an interesting part of the story in 2022. You don't see this going on more anymore, especially with the mafia, which is, as you know, I cover the mafia more than I cover motorcycle clubs. The Hells Angels threatened to come after witnesses. The FBI got credible info, that's what they say at least, that the Hells Angels were coming to Vegas from multiple states to, in quotes, take care of witnesses, in quotes, in this very case. As far as we understand, no witnesses were attacked or no one came after them. So maybe they decided not to do that. Maybe since this information got out, they called it all off. I don't know. But I know a lot of people didn't want to put their full names out there because they know what could go on. And it's not like in New York. I think they're a little bit more intense out here on the West Coast. Granted, they did start in California, and we're pretty close to California. Their trial is set for May 28th, 2024. Those 6 members that I mentioned were also brought up on racketeering charges and gang charges, and those charges were dropped. This shooting resulted in the Hells Angels clubhouse over here getting raided on a Wednesday, June 29th, 2022, so exactly a month after the shooting. I'll put up a picture of their clubhouse. It's at 1505 East Bonanza Road, right off of Maryland Parkway. I went to that clubhouse, so you guys get to see that. All right, I believe that's everything I have to tell you about the situation. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Hope you enjoyed my travels across the country. And I'll see you guys in the next one.